Hi,
All right.
Lisa.
Hi, everybody. So this is Carlos. What we're going to be going through today is the online photo submission. The online photo submission can be accessed through the SP management portal. Does everybody have access to the SP management portal?
Not sure. Is that a link?
Yes. We'll put it in our chat, in our conversation. There it is.
Does this login sync with our Active Directory, or is this a separate login?
It would be a separate login.
Maybe I don't. Not sure.
What we'll do then is we'll go over the process of creating new users. Right now, from just by looking at this screen, I already know that I have system administrator because all of the links are available. If you have limited access, then you'll see the links, but they're going to be grayed out. So to create new users, we're going to go into management portal user query. And these are the active users that we have. Some of them have been locked. As you can see, we have the unlock button available. But to create one, you would just click the add button. Now, bear with our design. With any other form, you would always just start at the top. But what we want to check first is our role information, so our privileges, whether they're going to be a system administrator or just an online photo manager. The online photo manager is only going to be able to approve or deny photos. The system administrator, of course, is going to be able to do a lot more things within online photo submission and, of course, within all of the back end of e-accounts. Now, the reason that we have to select the role first is, when I click on one of these checkboxes, my page is going to do a refresh and it removes the confirm password field. So you'll see this, does a refresh, it comes back down again. If I select system administrator. So when you do that, you're already at the bottom, you click save. And because this field was removed, then, it's going to give you an error. So preventing that, what's going on, what happened? That way you always select system administrator or, whatever role you need to. And then from there, you come back to the top. So, user ID can be anything. From there, there is an option for, what identity service you want to select, but we only have, as of now, our identity service, which is the one that we manage. Next, of course, would be our password. It does ask you to change it every 90 days. And then from there, the only thing that we would need is email address, first and last name. That would be it. Everything else, all these other fields are just going to be optional. If you guys want to fill those out, then definitely do that. Any questions on creating our users in the management portal?
This is Elise. I just have an internal question of which might be something for Greg or Tim or Chris. Who actually has access to the back end management at the moment?
So, Elise, I currently have access to the back end of SP management because I went in and I had a meeting with Blackboard several to configure the entire back end of the management portal with the online photo submission system. So myself and George currently have access to the back end.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yep.
Hey, Carlos, I think your mic's on mute.
Yes, it is. Thank you. So these are the users that we have available. I don't know if any of these are familiar. to you guys. BB support is going to be the one that I'm using right now. So for Transact, but all the other ones, admin, public safety, Chris, mailroom, and Sam admin is also another one that we create at the beginning. Any other questions on our users? Alrighty, we're on, and there seems to be some background noise coming from Pat. You can mute your mic, please. All right, just went ahead and muted him. So this would be your main portal, the SP management portal. Online photo submission lives under user setup. And again, I have sent this link in our chat, so it's in there if you want to save it for future use. But we're going to go into online photo submission. Now, the email address that gets added to your user account will come in handy when you come in here. That is where it's going to be pasted or added. Of course, I don't have an email address for my account. That's why this field is blank. Now, this section, basic information, will come in very handy when you're sending the photos to Transact. What it's going to do is it's going to send an email receipt of all of the photos that you send to Transact. So if your email address is blank for your user account or just in this field in general, then you're going to get an error when you're trying to send the photos to Transact. So again, that comes in very handy, and it's just going to be a plain text email. Hey, you sent so many photos to Transact. There were 0 errors. So that's what that one is used for. Now it seems that you guys are already using online photo submission. Are you guys testing, or is it live already?
It's not live already. We're currently in the testing phase.
Okay. Perfect. So we'll go straight to our settings. I'm going to do an overview of that section, and I'm going to be jumping around, all of these different sections, but we'll make sure to cover each one of them. If there is, any question, please feel free to interrupt me. I'm here for you guys. This is for you. So again, any questions, free to shout them out. All right, so our first section within the settings is general settings. Now the name in here, that field is going to be populated for, some of our email templates that we're sending out. It's going to say, hey, Albertus Magnus is, reaching out to you. The organizational email domains, this is a read-only, just a text, and it's going to be populated once we add our email addresses and we start sending out those email templates. This field is new, so let me do some research on that one. They must have just released a new version recently. The next section, static front-end URL. This is not currently in use. So for now, we just need to skip it. We don't need to add anything in here. Custom CSS URL is a URL where the campus can actually store the CSS file if they want to change the way that online photo submission looks. As of now, we are using the CSS file that the SP management portal is currently using. Now, we're mainly focusing on this logo. So that's the only thing that we're pulling from this CSS right now. It is optional. If you guys want to, you can just continue to use the one that we have provided you. Logout URL is going to be the same as the static front-end URL. At this point, it's not available. So again, we'll just leave it blank. Terms of service is, the terms of service, usually that's coming from the card office. This text will be displayed when the student logs into the online photo submission for the first time, and it won't allow them to continue until they check the box that says, hey, I do approve the terms of service. and there is the button to submit it. Do you guys already have a terms of service available?
We don't, but Zach, if you want to come up with some verbiage for this, that would be great.
Sure thing.
Alrighty. Any questions on our terms of service? Comments? All right. Our next item is going to be the ID number label. It's just the field that we have added just in case the campus has a different name for the customer number. Every customer record in Transect lives as the customer number. What I've seen before is that some schools will say this is the banner ID number, or something to that sort. If you guys want to, you can change it. Majority of our clients, they just leave it as customer number. The next fields are the custom fields. These are custom that we've added by default. If the campus wants, they can add additional. Now these custom fields will only live in the online photo submission. These are not related to the ones that already exist in Transect, and we just added these so that we can identify the customer records that we have in online photo submission by something else rather than just the customer number, right? Because if you have a student that reaches out to you and says, hey, I haven't submitted my photo, and then you ask them, okay, what's your customer number? If they're a freshman, they're probably not going to remember that number, and it'll be a lot easier to just ask them by their first and last name. So again, these are just custom fields, optional fields that come in very handy when you're doing a bulk import. That is it for our general settings. Do you guys have any questions from here? All right, moving on. Email settings. So as an option, you can send a bulk email to all of the incoming freshmen to say, hey, it's now time to take a photo. Please go ahead and follow this link from this email and submit your photo. When we are sending out those emails, we are spoofing those emails with our system, and this is the email address that we are sending. So it seems that you guys already updated this. Otherwise, I would have shown a Transect email address, no reply. Same thing, emails reply to. So this is the address that it's going to reply back to. And again, it's just spoofing those out. Days between invitations. This is something that a lot of our clients like. It's kind of sending a reminder to the students. If the student hasn't submitted their photo, they're going to get an email notification. Hey, make sure that you submit your photo. The way that this works is days between invitations, it's going to be 7. And usually what I see is maximum number of invitations set to 4. So that equals at about a month. The student will receive an email, 1 each week, and they'll perhaps submit their photo at that time. Is this something that you guys see yourself using, or would you like me to just set it back to 0 the way that it was, no invitations?
If you could set it back to 0 for now, that would be great.
Okay, perfect. Good as is. The default email group, you can create different email groups within online photo submission. So let's say, for example, you just want to target the incoming freshmen. You can create an email group called incoming freshmen, or faculty and staff maybe. For now, there is already a email group created, and it's just called default. So that's what it's displaying. It's just the read only field. And again, this is it for our email settings. Any questions, comments? Alrighty. Next is our downloading settings. The automatic archive, it's a way to, anonymize the information and remove it. Because what we have in here, online photo submission, is, a mini database of your customer records. Again, this is completely separate from the Transact database, even though, they relate. The only time that they're going to be able to talk to each other is when you click the send photos to Transact at the very top. Before that, these photos, the records, they only live in online photo submission, our cloud system. Now, a lot of our clients ask us, well, we don't want this to just keep building it up. So we created a way to anonymize those records and then remove them. Right now it's set to just, archive people when their photo is downloaded. These are just different queues that we have under photos. And that's the downloaded and done queue. Now, the way that it works is, I'm going to go back to our photos queues. Since we have some of these samples, you're going to be able to approve and deny your photos. Once you have approved them, they'll go into the approved queue or denied. And then after that, once you have sent them to Transact, they'll move the approved queues from here to the downloaded queues. Now, eventually, after a few more days, they're going to be put into the done queue. So that's where, those names come into play when we go back to our settings. So it all comes back to the campus on when would they like to, archive and anonymize those photos, that information. So right now it's set to archive people when their photo is downloaded. So right after you have sent the photos to Transact, that's when they are set to, and it's just archive from the option you guys have selected. Majority of our clients select the archive and anonymize. Would you guys like to change this or leave it as is?
Let's leave it as is for now.
Now, some of our clients don't want to send the photos to Transact. They have a different process. So save photos by is an option that we have given them so they can download those photos. So what we are selecting is, when you save the photos, just append the ID number to the files. Now, we do have a downloaded photos button, but because this is going to add more work if somebody accidentally presses that button, we have changed the name from download photos to delete photos. Now, let me show you that so that it makes more sense. Going back to our queues. This is our approved photos. Now, this is that button. We can change the label for this button. Now, when the end user, let's say that they accidentally click the download photos, or you name it, do not click on this button. What it's going to do is it's going to grab every single approved photo and it's going to send it to a compressive folder. It doesn't ask you, are you sure you want to do this? So that's why with all of our clients, I have always just, let's just change it to something dramatic, because to add those photos back again, you either have to go in and do a bulk import of all of the records that you have and then add the photo manually, or send an email to them and ask them to, resubmit their photo. So that's why we have selected the label delete photos. Now, again, that's it for our download settings. Do you guys have any questions, comments?
No.
Right. Now, this is probably the most popular section, the helper bot settings. Helper bot is, an AI that it's analyzing the photos, and it works very well with, the automatic rotation and automatic cropping. what we have, told our clients is, first play with it, play with the approval threshold, instead of just, coming in here and say, okay, yeah, let's just have it, automatically approve and deny the photos. It is an AI, and we would want to, say that, yeah, it's perfect, then it works. But, it's software. We have to, test it and make sure that it's going to work well for the campus. Now, approval threshold, the way that it works is, you submit a photo, it gives it a grade. And then from there, you'll be able to see, red bars for denial photos, a green bar if it's above 0.8. And then there's also going to be an orange bar. That means that it's just in between. So it's a maybe photo. That's what they're labeled as. So again, I recommend that you guys come in here and, just start playing with the approval threshold, see how it's, automatically approving, denying the photos. The send automatic feedback is just another email template. So if the photo has been classified with the green bar, it'll say, hey, it looks like you have submitted a good photo. We're just waiting for a human to approve or deny your photo. And I'll do the same thing. I'll just say it's a maybe photo or it's a bad photo. But again, it's still waiting for maybe the card office administrator to approve or deny those photos. Any questions on the helper bot?
No.
And everything that I've said, it's covered in here under the more info, the informational button. So if you guys ever want to come back, you can read this. Next, we have our photo settings. So this is the targeted dimensions. Students are going to submit their photos, but online photo submission, it's going to crop it to the specific ratio. So 300 by 400. I'm assuming you guys probably already looked at that. If you were to pull out your, ID, the photo should look almost like a rectangle, the size, and not just the perfect square 1-to-1 ratio. The next item is prevent multiple approved photos. So, a lot of the campuses have them, the selfie kings and the selfie queens. And, instead of having them submit multiple photos after they have been approved, you can prevent them from doing that. So the way that it works is, let's say you sent out the bulk email on a Friday, and the student is, just bored on the weekend, and they have submitted, about 100 photos to online photo submission. What you are going to see when you come in on Monday is going to be the last photo that they have submitted. Now, once you have approved that photo, then they won't be able to submit any more photos. They'll be able to access online photo submission, but it's going to let them know, hey, it looks like you already have an approved photo, and they won't be able to submit another one. If you have denied the photo, then they still have an opportunity to submit a new one. So very, very useful. You guys already have it checked, so that's very good. Your photo requirements, these are just identifiers. It's just letting you know that, hey, this is the photo requirement text. Once you come in here, you'll be able to see what it's actually displaying, as you can see from here. So these will appear once the student logs into the online photo submission. They'll be on the left-hand side as a bullet item. Classifier URL and hide from users. These two fields are only used for the helper bot. And I'll show you that once I come back here. So this one, this is a requirement that we need in order for helper bot to work. If we come in here, you'll see the details, and both of these, well, this will be checked, of course, and the classifier URL, and just some text for the online photo administrator. Please don't delete this one. You're limited to 10 photo requirements, and you guys have 9 of them, including the one that we have. So you have an option to creating one more. This, I can tell you that this is a new one, even this one. So again, you can come here and edit them. You can delete them if they're not making any sense to you. I know that most of our clients, they'll come back each semester and they'll look at the photos, and depending on, what's the latest trending thing on the internet, they'll come back and add different filters. I'm sorry, different photo requirements. Because at one point, I was working very closely with one of our clients, and there was like a snapshot filter, so they had to add, a photo requirement. Please don't add any photo filters. Students like to be funny. All right, the next section is supporting document types. And this is a request from our clients as well. They, wanted to, make sure that the person that's submitting the photo is who they say they are. What we do is, after they have submitted their photo or their photo ID, we'll ask them to take a photo of their driver's license, state ID, or passport, and then it'll be added to their record. I clicked on this one. Let's see what you guys created. So description is only going to be visible for the online photo submission administrator. Prompt to card holder, this is what they're going to be able to see. Now, usually I see something a little bit longer, letting them know what to do. Please take a photo of, state ID, driver's license, or passport. Would you like me to change that? Or would you like me to leave it as just government issued?
Yeah, if you could change that, just add a few words, like please present your government issued ID.
You want me to say, please take a picture, or?
Yeah, please take a picture.
Now, once the photo has been put into the downloaded queue, we have it checked so that it deletes it. I'll leave that one as is because that's very important. At the end of the day, this is sensitive data. It has probably going to have their, depending on what they submit, but their address or passport number. So we want to make sure that we're handling that accordingly. Now, that is it for our last section. Do you guys have any questions, comments, concerns?
No.
Okay. From here, I'm going to go into our email templates. Now, with online photo submission, how is the campus going to be using this tool? Are they only going to target specific students like freshmen, sophomores, or are you guys just going to allow everybody to submit their photo through e-account access?
I
Yeah.
would
Oops, sorry, go ahead.
imagine, Chris, is this going to be, that was actually one of my questions, dispersed just during orientation type of thing, or before orientation happens, to give students?
Yeah, I thought that we could use this for students that don't feel comfortable coming into the card office due to COVID. They could have the option of submitting their photo online.
Yeah, I believe because of the COVID and all,
Right.
I think we want to do for everybody, faculty, staff, anybody. So open up to the whole campus to give the ability to submit photos so they don't have to come in.
Okay. So then I don't see you guys using the email templates. The email templates are mainly used if you want to just limit, let's say incoming freshmen, maybe later on, when the semester is not that busy, you'll send the email out to faculty and staff. So create another email group. That's what the email templates are used. Now you can always go in there and edit the approval and denial email to maybe provide more information. Seems that you guys have already been playing with these. Let's take a look at the orientation approval email. Okay. The only required field is going to be your subject. All the other ones are going to be optional. Now, there are, pre-body HTML, body HTML, and post-body. This is, one main section. The majority of our clients use the HTML fields just because, let's say if you want to, just going to click on edit on this one. And, you want to add something like, welcome. Something like this. How the student is going to see this in their email is going to be this. The plain text field is just one big paragraph. So again, if you want to add multiple lines, what I would recommend that you do is that you use the pre-body HTML. You can add HTML elements, add the campus logo as well, as long as you are hosting that image, you can add that in there. But if you just are going to put something like this, then hey, that's perfectly fine. Not a problem. The show button, this is the approval email. So what it's going to do, it's going to show them a preview of the photo that was approved, and as an option, the student can download it. It's just the options that we have. Majority of our clients, they just uncheck this one for the approval template. Now, if we are going to edit the denial email template, back here, wait till it loads. There it is. We definitely want to check that button, right? Because we have denied their photo. We want to make sure that they are able to submit another photo. Show button is going to give them a button where they can go in and take another photo. Now there are two main sections, our body, as you can see, and then closing. Each one has the pre and the post HTML where you can add that code, and then just the plain text paragraphs, which is what you have used for this email template. With the denial email, you don't see it in here, but there's going to be a bullet list where that is coming in. When you deny the photo, you click denied, and then it's asking you, you're going to get a prompt from the photos queue. Hey, why are you denying that photo? And it's going to be bringing back up our photo requirements, so you can check as many as you want. If for some reason this is the innovative and creative student that added the Snapchat filter, there's going to be a blank bullet field where you can check that and say, hey, please don't add any photo filters. Now, there's also a text box, and it'll be labeled note to card holder. This is where you can have, a communication with the student. Maybe this is the 5th photo that they've submitted. You can say, please stop submitting the photo, come into the card office so that we can take your photo. And all of that is going to be displayed right in between here, right in between the button and the body section. any questions on the email templates? Seems, yes, go ahead, Elise.
It's Elise again. Just again, internally, I know we made an attempt to circulate or send out this email soliciting students. I don't know what happened or where it failed, but my question is, for the case of doing almost like a campaign in, say, all freshmen, we want them to all submit their photos online. We can go through this system, just like you're saying, send out an email and go through the campaign that way. But in the case of, say, an employee or a few scattered employees or staff or faculty that want to submit photos online, is that where we would just send a URL and they can go through the process? Because we wouldn't necessarily be uploading a list of, say, employees, but rather if we had, say one faculty member call up and they needed to submit an online photo, they had to have one created. What would the workflow or process be for that? Are we just giving them a URL to follow and go through, or do we have to, what would be the process?
What I would recommend is, just giving them the e-accounts portal link. Like you said, if you don't want to do like a bulk import for, that group
Yeah.
of the staff, then just say, hey, go ahead and log into your, e-accounts account and go to your profile page. There's going to be a link that says click here to submit your photo.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll make a note. I'll take a look here towards the end just to make sure that that is enabled and that it is available for everybody. I believe Greg mentioned that that's the route that you guys are going with. So I want to make sure that that is enabled so that everybody can see it and not just, going through the bulk import. Now, in the future, if you do want to create, different groups, different email groups, this is how you would be able to do that. It's within the email templates section. It does get a little bit confusing because you're here, but you can only see your email templates. The email groups live in here, so show recipient groups.
Actually, sorry to interrupt. It looks like I just went to my e-accounts. I went to profile, and I see it's showing my picture, and there's a link. It says click here to submit photo.
Beautiful. Yep.
Yeah, it looks like it's enabled.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for that.
Yeah, sure.
So this is these are your email groups. Orientation was a new one that was created. Default is the one that was created from us. If you want to just add a new one, we'll just come in here. It's already orientation. Let's just say faculty, staff. Now these are the different email templates that you can create. So we have the welcome email template. Login is used by using this address. But so far, none of our clients have used this because it generates a lot of confusion for the end user. If you provide this link to them, what they're going to see is, hey, welcome to online photo submission. Please enter your email address. The end user will enter that email address. It's going to use this email template. Then they get an email. Then they have to still click on that email link and go back and submit their photo. Again, very, confusion way of doing this, but it is an option. Let's just say, we're not going to do that because we're not going to provide this link to anybody. Then we have our approval, denial, and then the instant feedback, the one that I mentioned before, right? So bad, maybe, or good. We'll leave these. I'm just going to save this email group. And again, going back to the email templates section, how it's very confusing. I'll show you here once this loads. So here it is, right? We created our group. Then a lot of our clients say, oh, well, here it is. Let me create my new template. You click here and what it's actually going to do is take you to the previous screen. So again, very confusing. That's not what you're supposed to do. From here, you can make it the default group. So remember that text field, read only. This is where you can change that instead of displaying default. Now, in order to create email templates, we have to go back to show email templates. And I will say this is, I think, a little bit slower than usual. If they're doing anything on our side. But it's not that slow. So you're in here, and again, you don't see anything related to that group that you just created. So you have to click Add Template. Once that loads, we'll select our recipient group, right? We created faculty and staff, and then we select our template. Which one do we want to select? Now, login appears here, but we're not going to be sending it out. Let's just say we just want to edit the welcome. So this is what we'll get. Remember, subject is required, 2 main sections, body and closing. Then they just have the pre-post body, pre-post closing HTML. Any questions on our email templates section?
No.
Good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this group that I created. All right, so 2 email groups, just like how it was before. Now we're going to go into our people section. And all of your students are going to start coming up here, all of your end users, once they have logged into the e-accounts and clicked, click here to submit your photo, they're going to be auto-registered into this section. As you can see, it's already adding their customer number, their first and last name. It is also appending all of the zeros. Those, you don't have to add them in there unless you're adding them manually. So let's say I'm a freshman and for some reason I can't log in to the e-accounts page. They come to you and they say, I just want to submit my photo online. You will have to come in here and click on add. You'll enter their email address. And then from there, it's going to send them that welcome email. So once you do that, you're adding a record. Let's just say this is our student. You can click here or go back to people and load them up, but I'm just going to go here so that we can edit that person. When you're coming in here and adding their customer number, did you guys use 6 numbers? You've added their customer number. This is their information. We'll just click on save. And that is it. That's all that they would need. Now, going back to their record, let me take a look. Search in here. And notice how the zeros are missing. If you are adding an individual, you have to add those zeros. Otherwise, when you're sending that photo to Transact, it's not going to be able to find them. So the way that I do this is, I'll look for that record. Actually, I'll just copy the zeros from here. Then I'll look for that record. Using 5 numbers, then I'll click save. Again, that's only if you're adding somebody, manually, just one record. Any questions on that?
No.
So what I'm going to do now is delete this record. We don't need to have it in here. So I click on archive to delete that record. You can restore it from here once you have done that. But after that, I'm going to click on anonymize.
So how was this populated? Did we do like a CSV or something initially? How
Yeah, Greg, we did a piped delimited CSV file.
oh yeah.
We loaded them in and did the bulk import.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that now. That's right. So we have to do that every semester?
It's up to you.
Every semester, every mod.
That's optional, because you're having your students go through e-accounts. When they do that, they're doing an auto registration.
Ah.
If you are going to be sending those email templates, then you can take advantage of the bulk import, but it's not necessary, for next year's freshmen or next year's students.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep, got it. Okay.
So I have, anonymized my information. I'm sorry, I have archived this record. I anonymized it. Now I'm able to delete this record. And it just gives me a warning. That's okay. This was just created for our call, for our demo. Now, Greg and Chris mentioned the bulk import. This is where we can do that. Again, this would only be used, or I would only recommend it if, just want to limit, let's say, 20 members of like staff and faculty. It gives you the options on, what to do in here. We will need their customer address, their email address, and their customer number. And then first and last name are optional in here, but again, those will come in very handy when you're doing a search under the people section. It depends on what browser you're using. We always recommend that you use Google Chrome. And even though it says up to 1,000 rows, I have limited to 800 because I've seen a delay when you get up close to 1,000, and then you're going to get errors. You don't know if it, which ones were uploaded. So I just always use Google Chrome and keep it under 800 rows. Let's see if I have a file that we can use. So this is the file that I'm going to bring over. Now it is a pipe delimited file. I have my email address, customer number, first and last name. And again, it is separated by that pipe. So I'm going to show you. And notice that we're still on the same page, but now we have, additional options. You can uncheck this if, for some reason you just want to add them, which it's not necessary. You can uncheck this. Otherwise, I will be sending them the welcome email template. It is asking you, hey, does your file have a header row? If you don't know, all you have to do is just scroll down and you can actually see a preview of our file. So we can see from here that, oh yeah, it does have it. So we would check on that. If you don't know if you have already imported the file, maybe these records are going to be duplicates from last time, you always want to make sure that you update existing users. Otherwise, you just get an error, record already exists. From there, you can select which column, what information we have for each column. It doesn't matter the order. So in this case, email address, customer number, first and last name. There are other fields like your email group, right? Maybe we want to just select that faculty staff that we created because the list that we have here is for faculty and staff, but it's not a required field. It's just optional. These would be the required fields, I would say. Again, I don't see you guys using it, but I just wanted to go over it. Do you guys have any questions on the bulk import? All right.
No.
So that is it for the people section. Do you guys have any questions in here?
No.
Now go to our photos section. This is where our queues live. As I mentioned before, students are going to submit their photos. As you can see, that green bar gets placed right underneath their photo. That means that the helper bot analyzed that photo. So it does take a few seconds, sometimes a couple of minutes. But after that, it says, hey, I consider this a good photo. Let's see, just trying to look for maybe some other colors. There it is. So this one's a maybe photo, right? An orange bar underneath it. And then there could be some red ones. Maybe we don't see any red ones. Now this is a good example. Some students get confused. They don't read the instructions. So, they just took another photo of themselves where, we're expecting the ID. You can deny the photo and then you'll be able to say, no to card holder, please take this, resubmit the same photo and take a photo of a governmental document, state ID, driver's license, etc. You can, maybe add other reason. There's nothing wrong with your photo. We just need a governmental ID. And then once you click submit, they'll be removed from the pending queue. They'll be put into the denied queue. And then at that point, the student has received that email address with, the values that you have selected in here. So there's nothing stopping the student. The helper bot is not going to say, hey, this doesn't look like a state ID. It's just going to, okay, this submitted another image. I'm going to, send it to the queue. Of course, it will analyze the photo, but it won't be able to track the governmental document. You will see from time to time a gray bar. That means that helper bot couldn't analyze the photo. You will see an icon of an arrow going around. So it's just telling you, hey, I can go ahead and reevaluate this photo. You just have to click on it. And it'll, start thinking about it. Maybe it'll do some cropping and then it'll give you the photo back into the pending queue. And hopefully there is, that color. Sometimes, even though if you do that, it won't provide you with that color, but we are humans, we can approve or deny that photo at that point. Once you have clicked approved on some of the photos, it's going to do the same thing where it's removing it from the pending queue and putting into the approved queue. I don't want to do that for any of the photos there. So let me see if there are any here. I think I saw. Is there a photo that we could approve? You guys mentioned that these were all testing, or
Yeah, so these were all like when we tested the system initially.
can I approve this one then, or doesn't matter? Do you know which ones are the test records?
I don't, but mine should be in there. So if you type in, yeah.
Still searching. What's your last name, Chris?
Shine, S-H-I-N-E.
S-H.
Does that only search pending?
Yes. So if they have submitted
Yeah.
it's not loading. What I wanted to show you guys is, once you have approved or denied the photo, you move it from the pending queue, it's under the approve or denied. You still have the option to, approve it if the photo has been denied. Let's say you take a peek at the denied queue and you see the photo and you think, well, this is a good photo. Why did we deny it? You will get that thumbs up. You can, click on that thumb up, and from the denied queue, it will be moved to the approved queue. And, vice versa. If the approved, you take a peek at the approved queue, you look at the photo and they have sunglasses. Why did we approve this, right? You can select the thumbs down so you can deny that photo. Now, each time you press that button, that icon, whether if it's approved or denied, the student will receive that email template, denied or approved. So there might be some confusion, but they'll just receive that email address, that email template. Once you're all done, right, you have approved or denied all of your pending photos. You're ready to send those photos to Transect. You just have to, send photos to Transect. We want to make sure that that email address lives up here, and then it's going to log you out from here. From this section, is going to take you back to home, and then from there, you should receive an email address momentarily. You should receive an email with the receipt of how many photos were submitted. So it should take you back here. And that's after you have clicked on send photos to Transect. Now we talked about all of these different queues. The end route, that's a queue that's for the end user that's currently working on their submission of their photo. So if I logged into the e-accounts and I'm just playing around with my photos, you're gonna see that I'm working on my photo. You're gonna see that, oh hey, Carlos logged in and he submitted this photo. You can force them out. Maybe there is a time limit that you want to have all the approved photos. You can force them out, and then they'll move it to the pending queue. Then from there, you can approve or deny the photo. But that's optional. I don't see that heavy use on that one. But that's what the en route means. From there, we're going to go into the dashboard section. Now this will be your reporting. Once you click in here, it's going to open up a new window, and it's going to give you all the data that we have collected from our online photo submissions. Who has approved the terms of service? Who has submitted their photo? All of the good information. And this is what's been used for batch printing. They get a list. Now they know who they have approved the photos from, and they can do batch printing as an option. That would be under people data. And once you have this, once it loads, you can export it as a CSV or Excel spreadsheet file. Very, very useful information in here. Data. Yeah. Any questions on the dashboard section?
No.
The archive section is, where all your archive records live. If you haven't deleted them or anonymized them, then you'll be able to see them in here. Seems that we have archived your record. That's probably why we weren't able to find you, Chris. But you can restore them from here. Yes, restore. Where we can, anonymize and of course delete the record. It's the archive section. Organizations is just going to display, the name of the campus. That's all that it's doing. The about section is just going to give you the version that you're on. You don't need to worry about upgrades or anything like that. Since we are hosting this for you, we take care of the updates, the upgrades. Now this upgrade shouldn't be displayed, so I already made a note so that our backend can remove this. This gets very confusing. If you do click here, it's going to try to sell you some stuff. This is the vendor where we purchased it from, and this is almost like a in-app purchases. But again, I'll make sure that we remove that. We don't want you to see that, right? We don't want to sell you more stuff. Unless you want to send it to me directly. I'll greatly appreciate that. Just kidding, just kidding. But yeah, so this is a online photo submission. Do you guys have any questions?
No.
Not that I can think of.
That concludes our call. I know that we have another session for tomorrow for TruCredential. For that one, we'll be using Microsoft Teams for the voice, and I'll be sending, or it should have already been included in the calendar invite, but there will be a Teams viewer. That way we can share the control of TruCredential.
Okay, sorry, I have a quick question.
Yes, great.
I missed the beginning, so I apologize. I see the URL, and it gets me to a login. Who is Chris the one to? Because I don't know what my password might be. I've tried a few different things to try to log in.
It's a separate login.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a separate login. These are the users that I have.
so am I in there?
I
I am
see
not.
an account for you.
We can add you.
You want to do it that way, or is admin? Is that us?
The SA admin, or CM admin, I think that's us.
Yeah, you guys can use them, or I can just create a new account for you.
Yeah, maybe we do that. I don't know if it's better to have like multiple. I see Chris in there in mailroom. I don't know if that's better, or we just have like an admin that 3 or 4 of us have the account info. Yeah.
So Greg, you probably missed the part too, bringing in security into this also,
Yeah.
which it looks like public safety might have an account. Is that true? Because there's also a
Yeah.
role where they could just be photo approvers, rather than being admins in here. So
Okay.
Yes, so we can change that.
So Greg, this was that part, and we're recording this session, so I'll make sure to provide it to everybody. That
Oh,
way
great.
they watch it. But this is what Elise was mentioning. So mobile credential, I'm sorry, online photo manager is going to be the role that is only going to be able to approve or deny photos. System administrator is going to give you access to everything that we just went over.
Okay.
just a quick internal question also while I have everybody on the line. In terms of who's accessing the system with public safety, since I saw there's a user in there. Zach, are you guys accessing this system for any other reason, whether it's, you know, card, door control or something, or is this all new to you?
No, the only reasons why we'd be using it is for the cards and door access. Other than that, no other reason. But at the same time, too, is we don't really have much. What's the right term? We don't really have much experience with the door stuff besides myself. So it would be primarily just for the ID.
Okay, so in that case, I'll let, you know, you guys, Greg or Chris, determine whether you should have an account with the admin status, or rather if you're just going to be dealing with, you know, this system for photos, maybe you are just the approver. However, is the other software for what we're going over tomorrow, is that a whole separate dashboard or console?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, for the SP management portal, the main sections is, you know, online photo submission, mobile credential, online deposits if you need to create any reports, and or modifying anything on the e-account page. Everything else, this is just back end. You know, maybe some CSS customizations, replacing those logos, but that's all that you are using in the SP management portal. Nothing to do with, you know, card access or anything like that.
Got it. So in the case of just trying to figure out workflow, in the case of public safety and Zach, since he's saying that they're not really in the back end of this system in the area that you're showing us now. However, they would be printing cards, all of our ID cards with the other part of the system tomorrow. Does it make sense for Zach and his security team to only have the online submission access for this system, and then, you know, full access for the actual on-premises card printing? Because I think they will be responsible for, if this work is transitioned to a different department, I think they're going to be responsible for actually approving or disapproving the photos. So in that case, I would imagine that they would need some type of access into the system. Right, Chris or George, is that correct? Where if you guys are throwing security the new task of creating these cards, I would imagine that's going to include the online submissions, which means they would need some type of access. So rather than having admin access, does it make sense for security to have the photo submission access at least? Would that solve?
Yeah. And security already has an account. I created them for TruCredential that we're going to go over tomorrow.
Okay. All right, sounds good.
Alrighty. So what I'll do is I'll wait for Microsoft to provide me that link from our recording. I'll forward that one out, and then we'll meet tomorrow, unless anybody has any questions, anything else.
No?
Oh, sounds good.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for your time, and have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, thank
Thanks,
you.
Ben, you too.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.